our studios, it's my pleasure to introduce to you a very special guest. Took me a while for him to come, and it's very important that we need to talk about what we are going to be talking about. His name is Robert Bonner. He's an elder, very active in the Aboriginal or the First Nations community. And before we start the show, I would like to acknowledge the unceded territory of Musqueam, Kwantlen, Silvertooth, and Squamish Nation. That's where we are broadcasting from. So, with that, let me introduce the gentleman that is sitting right here, and he's here to talk about everything, anything and everything that has been happening around the world, and also about the apology that the Aboriginal leaders went to France, right?
Yeah.
To meet with the Pope. And I just want to know, what are the people, Aboriginal people of this land, are feeling about the apology? First of all, give a little bit background of yourself, sir.
Okay, my name is Robert Bonner. I am Cree I was born in Regina, Saskatchewan. My people are from northern Manitoba. I've lived and worked in Vancouver for the past 20-some years. I'd also like to acknowledge the people of this territory and thank them for allowing me to live and work in their territory.
Thank you. So let's start. Can you give a little bit of synopsis of how this meeting was arranged, or how the group of the people from different nations, Canadians, had this or organized this meeting? I think there were 30 or 40 leaders from different nations that went and met with the Pope. And they were there for a week, what we have seen on television. Do you think they achieved the goal? Did you think they got what they wanted?
I think for the most part, most of them got what they came for. The big thing was the apology, but also, if you'll notice in the news, that the people from the Inuit people, they're still asking and demanding that the Vatican turn over one of the priests that's been charged with sexual offenses up north against some Aboriginal people. He's still alive, and from what I understand, there is an extradition order pending. But from what I hear, I don't know whether it's true or not. But the Vatican they won't turn him over. So, the apology in itself is, for me, was more of a recognition of the wrongs that were done.
Okay, apology is one thing. As a person, I'm not part of the tradition, or I'm not part of the Aboriginal people. And I think sometimes it's easy to say, I'm sorry that happened. But beyond saying, I am sorry, what else are we able to do? Because Catholic Church is very richest, one of the richest religion in the world. And how are they gonna take care of the people who has been through generation after generation of abuse, and missing and murdered women is one thing, and losing the children, and they are not also willing to hand over the names of the children to the people that they, at least if it was my kid, I would want to know the school they went to and whatever happened to them. So, do you think people are satisfied with just the apology and nothing more nothing more than that?
No, I really don't believe everybody's happy, just happy with the apology. One of the demands, or one of the requests, I guess you could say, is that he come to Canada and he apologize. And from what I understand, or from what I've heard, one of the places that would like to have the Pope come is Winnipeg.
Okay.
I heard Winnipeg.
And I think Kamloops in here too.
I think Kamloops because of
Because of the children.
the graves. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so. So
Unmarked graves
It'll
that they
be
call.
interesting to see how many times this man says "I'm sorry" while he's here.
Yeah.
You know, apologizing without any further action on your part is, for me, it's meaningless.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of like when Harper stood up in Parliament and did the same thing. You know, he had this big, huge letter apologizing to the Native people for the residential school. You know, and he apologized for the Canadian government's complicity and all of that. And much like that apology, it hasn't been followed through with any action. You know, we have Mr. Trudeau spending millions of dollars elsewhere, and we have Aboriginal communities in this country that still don't have fresh drinking water.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah.
You know, if they want to build a pipeline, they should build a pipeline and pump water through it so everybody in this country has fresh
Clean drinking water.
Clean, you know, that's a right.
That should be given, yeah.
That's a right.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that Mr. Trudeau really needs to concentrate on. You know, like one of the things that he's always said is that he's here to help us Aboriginal people, you know, make things better for us. And I really don't believe.
And we don't see no result. We don't see.
I don't see any results. Like, you know, this new housing initiative that he came out with, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't see how it's going to make any sense to, you know, like it's so far out of the reach of the first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
You know, like being Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal. You know, it's just, you know, it's beyond us. You know, like I think that with the apology, the Catholic Church should be responsible for the care of the survivors.
Of course, 100%.
You know, like I really believe that if they're not forthcoming and do that, that the government, you know, this is where we get, you know, between the government and the church. You know, like I can't see why the government doesn't have within them to confiscate Roman Catholic held property. Like their churches are tax free. Their property is tax free. You know, appropriate that and turn the sale of that over to the people, over to the survivors. If the Catholic Church is unwilling to do that, you know, somebody somewhere has to take some action. Like, you know, we talk about truth and reconciliation. You said that, you know, the Vatican isn't willing to forego some of the papers that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, like.
Yeah.
Where's the truth in that? You know, like, if we don't have the truth, how can we reconcile?
That's right.
You know,
if they are not
it's awfully
forthcoming,
hard. You know,
yeah.
it's awfully hard when, you know, you know, the church is telling us one thing and the federal government is saying another. Like I read an article last year in the paper around the Roman Catholics and them having to pay for the survivors. Well, they went to court and they won the decision that they wouldn't have to be financially responsible for the survivors. And for some reason, the Canadian government at that time has yet to appeal that decision. And like, I don't understand that. You know, like Trudeau talks about like wanting to make things right for the Aboriginal people of Canada. Well, like, why does he interfere? You know, like why? Yeah, like why is he interfering? Like what is the government got going on with the church that we don't know about? That we don't know about. You know, I'm
that
sure
nobody knows.
That nobody knows.
Yes.
You know, like I find it hard to believe that other than apology, like, you know, for me that'll be it.
Yeah.
You know, and the apology. I was a member of not a member. I was part of this 60s scoop. I was apprehended from my family. Mm-hmm. Right? My mother was an alcoholic, and I had just recently found out that she was a residential school survivor. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the apology came a little too late for her because she has passed on. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that apology is a little late for a lot of people.
Right.
I really don't believe that, it was sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I see as an immigrant who just came to the country, and I feel that as an immigrant, I'm treated much better than the first people of this land.
Oh, definitely.
I get what I want, right? People throw red carpet for the immigrants coming to the country. But what about the first people of this land? I see two things. Whenever there's a residential school, the kids that they were snatched from the parents, take the culture away and all that, under the name of learning English, they were taken away and put in a residential school, and this is all the abuse happen in there. So there is one is the church and one is the government. So both of them are equally responsible for what has happened to Aboriginal people, or first people of this land.
And
So-
the RCMP are also.
and the RCMP were
Because
the one.
they're the ones that went into the homes and apprehended the children. So the RCMP are just as complicit in this as the government and the church.
Yes.
But you won't hear the RCMP
No.
acknowledge that.
No.
You know,
no.
they're doing
But
their job.
I think they were following the order of the government. Who are the employees from? RCMP is employed by federal government, so whatever they were telling them to do, that's how our RCMP were going, but and getting the kids out.
Well, that was their mandate. RCMP were formed to protect the settlers from the natives.
Yes.
That's originally why they were formed, was to protect the settlers from the natives. And it hasn't changed, you know, they, still feel it. Yeah, they just,
Yeah, so
it
they're
hasn't
both
changed, the
two-
mindset hasn't
Yeah,
changed.
but for me, I see both are equally responsible.
Oh, certainly,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there are so many survivors. Now they wanted to see black and white where the bodies of the missing kids were. Now they're digging the ground and all the kids are they buried. Unmarked grave of
Unmarked
the
grave.
children.
Yeah.
And there are so many. I mean, they have just dug few of the areas or whatever, but there are a lot more to be done because a recent one was in Williams Lake, right?
Williams Lake,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there are a lot more where the kids were taken. I'm just talking about British Columbia, but all over Canada.
over Canada.
This didn't happen just in BC.
No.
This thing happened all over Canada. They wanted to take the Aboriginal out of the Aboriginal people.
Assimilate.
And
Assimilate.
to become so that they don't have no culture, they don't have no tradition, they don't have no language, and they will still be pushed on the reserves and throw some money at them so they will not. But now the Aboriginal people are getting educated, they're moving out of the reserves, going to university, becoming doctor, lawyer, and all that. So these people are asking the question. Nobody has any answer to the questions,
No.
right? And also, I think, to be able to, we need to make this mandatory in the schools that there got to be some teaching of the Aboriginal culture.
Well, I think
history.
I think they've just passed it, where before you graduate from high school, now in BC, you need to have taken a course in Aboriginal culture or Aboriginal sensitivity or something, but some course in Aboriginal knowledge.
Yes.
So I think that, I think it's great. I think it's a little too soon, they should
Yeah.
start them off from kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know,
Because that's when, and that's where racism starts too, right?
That's it, kindergarten.
Yeah, kindergarten. That's when the kid goes, no child is born racist.
No.
But
a
it's the
learned
parent
behavior.
what they learn, what they see, what is talked about in the home.
That's
But
it.
if you start at a very early age, then they understand. They can come home and educate the parents at home
Mm-hmm.
who are not aware of the language or the culture of Aboriginal people. And I think that's where it needs to start. High school is a little bit, I think they will need it to graduate, but it's kind of a little bit late.
Yeah, they
Because
should
a
start
child
it
has
earlier.
been through school for 12 years, 11 years, and you have no idea, and now you have to do the classes to be able to graduate is a little bit too late.
I think so.
So the people that are watching you today, what do you want to say to them? The people that are not enough educated on Aboriginal culture and Aboriginal language or Aboriginal traditions. I know we cannot do it in 20 minutes or 15 minutes. I know there's so much to do.
With the media being the way it is, there is so much information out there now. There's so much literature out there now about Aboriginal culture, Aboriginal spirituality. You know, there's lots of books. There's yeah, like you can go on YouTube and you could see, you can participate. You know, like all our events are open.
Yes.
You know, they're not just for Aboriginals only. They're open to everybody. Because we believe that one of the beliefs that I have, and it's a medicine wheel teachings, and there's 4 colors in that medicine wheel, and that represents all 4 races in this world.
Yep.
And we're all in it together. And I think it's about time, like my elder says, you know, we're all children of the Creator. You know, we should start, you know, we should start acting like that. You know, and you know, I've been practicing my spirituality now for 20-some years, and in that time, I've been fortunate enough to have people that are non-native that I've managed to introduce to, you know, to some of our ceremonies and some of our ways of life. You know, I've taken a lot of non-native people to our sweat lodge because it's open and people people want to know what it's all about. You know,
I was thinking about that when you're talking about, like, sweat lodges are open for everybody, and anybody is open to come and find out
what it's all about.
Yeah, what's all about. Yeah,
it's open. You know, all you have to do is ask.
Yes.
You know, there's in the Lower Mainland. There's a lot of native spirituality going on. There's sweat lodges on the North Shore. There's a couple here that I know of in Surrey. So it is, you know, it is around. You know, but I think people got to get over that fear of, you know, like, I see it when I'm walking down the street that, like, when people see me coming, you know, they're that stereotypical Indian. You know, like I feel that really from, like, the older, you know, like, through no fault of their own, the older Chinese population, for some reason, they seem to be afraid of us Aboriginals. I'm not sure why that is, but I think that's a learned behavior as well. Because like we were always portrayed to people as like we were no good, we were drunks, you know, like we didn't, you know, like we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So and you know, that's, you know, a lot of people's perception still.
Which is very unfortunate.
Oh, it is very unfortunate because I know a lot of gifted Aboriginal people.
Yeah, the people have planted that in the heads of the people. So maybe if me as a mother or grandmother, if I am known, then I tell my children, and this is how it goes to the different younger generation. So everybody started looking up to Aboriginal people as if they don't do anything, they get free money, and they are drunks, which is very sad to say, but they are not.
That is the perception.
Yeah, but we have to, these are learned behaviors. We have to unlearn whatever is being put in our head. And there was a purpose for us to be learning that so that we also have arm's length relationship from the Aboriginal culture or Aboriginal people, you know, which is this how it is, right? I mean, we welcome all the immigrants coming from every other country. Right now, we are throwing a red mat for all the people from Ukrainian coming, the mothers and kids and all that, even provincial government, federal government. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's fine. Do it, what you need to do. But at the same time, if you're going to show so much empathy to those people there, you have to show the empathy to the people of this land as well. You know, they are not the one bringing. You are giving them the land that they can come and we can share the land together. It's the first people of the land, which you don't get the credit what the credit is due. Somebody else is taking the credit.
And we're not giving it, they're taking it.
Yeah, they've taken it.
They take it, they expropriate it.
Yes.
You know, like if they need it, they'll take it for any reason. Just like if they want to build a pipeline, they can just cut right through your land if they want.
Right.
You know, like they've done that. You know, they cut through a lot of First Nations land just because that's where they want the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know,
because that's where the oil is gonna go from Alberta to Japan or wherever they're gonna be sending it. Yeah, and because sometimes we talk a lot in here, we talk that we are raising money for the clean drinking water in the third world country. Third world country is right here in Canada. Why are we not saying the same thing, that we are raising money to build clean drinking water for the people of this land. People there still don't have proper drinking water, right?
Yeah.
We on the world stage, we want to be big hotshots, showing how Canada is so generous and all that. But for our own people, we don't treat them with respect.
No, no. You know, like a prime example is the flood. We had that First Nations community that was isolated. Like the flood washed out the bridge, so they had no access to their homes, or they couldn't get out.
Yes.
For, I think it was 22 days before anything was done, and still nobody went to offer a hand to those people. So, like, yeah, I wonder where that empathy is for the Native people of this country.
Yeah.
We seem to, people seem to be under that mindset that, we're given everything that we need.
No, they are not getting. Yeah, they are wasting their money elsewhere.
We're
but
not
they-
getting We're not getting the money that we need. We have, the population of, I think something like we make up like about 4% of the population in the Lower Mainland,
Yes,
but yet we make up 60% of the homeless.
yes.
That just.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. For me, it doesn't make any sense. It just. They should be building. The government should be interested in building housing, not just for Aboriginal people, but for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. Like everybody in this country. This country is wealthy enough that there should be no reason that every person in this country shouldn't be
Housed properly.
have proper housing.
Yeah.
We
But
have
when you
enough
see
wealth in
there are
this
more
country.
Aboriginal people who are homeless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Either you go to Surrey, whether you go to downtown East Side, they are every time you see these other people on the streets.
Yeah.
They are not on the streets by choice
No.
because they don't have enough money to be able to rent a proper housing, or they don't have housing.
Oh, no,
There's a 0% housing vacancy.
Yeah.
So where would they go?
That's it.
And once the people, we are not supposed to do that, but I think there's a lot of racism in there too.
Oh.
We are not supposed to say, oh, you cannot live in my basement because you are Aboriginal. But,
You can't say that.
Yeah, you can say that.
No, you
but
can't.
it is being done.
Oh, certainly it is.
It's been done.
It's
So
been
there is a
done.
lot of racism.
Oh, there
Because
still
the
is.
thing that's been planted in our head, oh, they are drunks. They're going to have parties.
Yeah.
They don't work and they're bums and all that.
And
But-
we don't do anything.
yeah, and they don't do nothing. So those people that are watching you today, and I'm so glad that we are having this is a very difficult conversation. This is a conversation not anybody, or even for me or you, to be having, but it's difficult. But I'm so glad that we are starting this conversation. Why are you so scared to talk about this? I don't understand. Everybody should be talking about it. So you are here. What you want our people that are watching you today to know about Aboriginal culture, Aboriginal people, the whole 9 yards of what's been happening around with the Aboriginal.
Well, for me, Aboriginal culture is, I've been taught what I've been taught, and like some of the things that I've been taught in my Aboriginal teachings, I can share.
Yes.
But like, for me, where I don't want to see a non-native person leading those said ceremonies.
Yep.
Like that. I don't believe that should be happening. But for people to, if you see a native person, just say hello, or ask them a question. They're
Yes.
open. We're open to questions. And if I don't have the answer, I might be able to point you in the direction where you might find that answer. But like, people just have to get over that fear that we're not, we're not those people that we were portrayed to be. For the most part, I think I believe we're a peace-loving people.
Yep, I've seen that.
We share our knowledge of the medicines.
Yeah.
We've shared that openly.
Yeah. And through Sweat Lodge and all that.
Sweat lodges on the west coast here, they have their longhouses where they ceremony. So the culture is there. You just have to, get out there and ask somebody or get interested. You know, like
Yeah.
there's web pages with Aboriginal events happening all the time. Like I'm not sure if this would be aired before then, but there's coming back to Vancouver is the Mother's Day powwow at Trout Lake. We haven't had that in a few
For
years.
a while.
Yeah,
Last 2 years, yeah.
They shut it off pre-Olympics because they could practice.
So when
their
is that
figure skating.
happening? How is it?
May 11th, Mother's
Oh,
Day.
May, okay.
Yeah, Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, definitely the show will be it before that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like there'd be the Mother's Day powwow, and I see like a lot of the gatherings and stuff are,
Yes, yeah.
because of COVID, is restrictions have dropped and people are more comfortable. But yeah, if you know an Aboriginal person and you've got questions, I would just say sit down and ask. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yes,
You know, like that's how I learned.
yeah.
You know, that's how I learned from my elders, was by asking. So.
So with that, thank you so much for coming in today,
Well, thank
educating me, educating all the people that are watching you today. And I think, like what Robert Bonner has said, don't be scared to ask questions. We don't have answers. Don't pretend we know about everything about Aboriginal culture and all that. If you see somebody on the street, say hi. How is your day going? Which nation you are from? Start a conversation, right? You will get to know the knowledge that they have and be willing to share with everybody. So that's all I can say, that we all are human, we all are sharing the same land. They have been very generous to allow us share their land. So what is this, what is not the secret, but what is the thing that scares us the most? We can all talk, and with that, you are watching Kamilla Singh Show. Keep watching Kamilla Singh Show, and thank you for being part of our show.
Buying or selling a house is a difficult process. Get Brent Prakash from Saba Realty Limited to find you your dream home, whether it's your first house, upgrading, or investment property. Always at your service with a fast, friendly, and honest opinion, Brent Prakash will guide you through the entire process. Get in touch with him today for a free, no-obligation consultation at 778-840-5866. I understand how important it is to have a place called home, and it's frustrating using your hard-earned money on rent. Vic Prasad can make you a homeowner. Get pre-approved services provided to first-time buyers and new immigrants. You can qualify